Hello everyone, I'm Carthu and welcome back to the dojo. Today, I wanted to discuss why I believe fusion is dead in Dragon Ball Super. Don't get me wrong though, I like fusion too, but with its innate flaws and recent retcons, which aren't really retcons, I find it less than likely it'll return to the series, at least with the main cast. So, let me jump straight into why I think fusion is most likely dead. First, let's just understand that Metamoran fusion is even less powerful than Potara, and is unlikely to occur in the Tournament of Power at the very least. For Metamoran fusion, the two participants must make their power level equal, be roughly equal height, do a precise dance in synchronization, and only get a 30-minute timer. This type of fusion takes time to train and perfect, despite what Fusion Reborn will tell you. This cannot just be done on the fly, so while in canon the Metamoran fusion timer isn't depleted with power, the amount of time it takes to learn the technique, especially during the climax of a tournament, would be too great to actually have it happen in that time period. Now let's get into the main topic of this discussion, Potara fusion. Potara fusion in Dragon Ball Super specifically has been a very controversial topic due to retcons that we know Toriyama intended based on his interview with Toyotaro. For those who don't remember, one retcon came when Supreme Kai and Kibito were able to defuse with the Dragon Balls, but this one was less disliked. The second came when Gawas said that Potara fusion only lasts 1 hour for non-Kaioshins. However, even worse than that, the hour timer can be diminished by the power of a fusion. The first showing of this modern fusion was with Vegito Blue, who lasted less than the hour mark. This was just the beginning of seeing Potara as an unreliable way for characters to solve their problems. The next case was with Kefla, who was stated to have greater power than the first appearance of Goku's Ultra Instinct, at least when she was Super Saiyan 2. And because of that power, Kefla's fusion only lasted 2 to 3 minutes at most. I'm sure most of you understand what this means. Goku and Vegeta are much stronger now, and Goku's Ultra Instinct during the fight with Kefla was obviously stronger than her, but couldn't utilize that strength. The definitive proof being that the Kamehameha that Kefla got blasted off the arena by, she couldn't even put up a struggle to resist it. So imagine a fused character with that transformation, or perhaps a transformation that is in between Beyond Blue and Ultra Instinct, since Kefla's forms were obviously a merger of Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan Berserker, that would just be too strong. Even just that Ultra Instinct would be enough to knock down the timer significantly, especially considering how strong Vegito's base form is. So, how long would Vegito be fused for? 2 seconds? Maybe a minute? There's also the argument that breaking the Potara is a reason that Kefla defused, but I actually think that was just symbolism for Potara fusion being a broken concept as of this part of the series. Overall, in the story, we see many reasons why Potara fusion is dead, and especially with these stronger characters. Notice how they didn't even comprehend the idea of Vegeta and Goku fusing when they talked about the option earlier in the arc. They actually went straight to the weaker characters when discussing which ones they should fuse. If that's not enough, I think the next reason will make it clear to you anyway. As the character gets stronger, it seems like Potara fusion will become less and less relied on. But why did this happen? Why did it need to happen? Well, if you guys watched Swag Kage's video about disliking Dragon Ball Super, you'd know that he dislikes the Potara retcon because he says that it wasn't needed. Since the Dragon Balls could already defuse characters fused by Potara, as shown with Kibito and Supreme Kai, the retcon doesn't solve a problem in his view. However, he's wrong. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that he can't dislike this retcon. He definitely can. I'm saying that this line of logic just doesn't make sense. Let me explain. Potara fusion being permanent was a great negative for an otherwise overpowered ability. People who have pride in their own strength, or more importantly, don't want to lose themselves, wouldn't think that saving the day is worth it. However, this is basically a weakness that is aimed at only Vegeta, but we know he's even willing to overlook it for the greater good at some points. So when you introduce the Dragon Balls as an escape from this negative, you actually make Potara Fusion stronger. Now, Goku and Vegeta can fuse without the risk of staying merged and be exponentially stronger because of it. This is where the second, retcon, differs. Before that though, retroactive continuity is used a bit too liberally, especially with Dragon Ball, so I want to clear some things up. If we, as observers, go by statements and not showings, then the whole perception of someone's power and speed would be entirely different. So what actually applies the same continuity? Elder Kai saying that the fusion is permanent, but then it's shown not to be, or the fusion is shown not to be permanent, Goku makes a haphazard guess, and later it is explained that it was due to a time limit. The only retcon here is in the Buu Saga when Vegito defuses. The later explanation by Gawas does not change that retcon, so the explanation isn't another retcon. Now that I cleared that up, it should also be obvious to some of you where the Gawas explanation and the Dragon Ball diffusion differ. Gawas's explanation actually nerfs Potara Fusion. Even more so when you take into account the power drain aspect. If the fusion only lasts 1 hour, and as an example, Vegito isn't ridiculously stronger than his opponent, and the fight takes a long time, eventually Vegito loses. But to go even further, and to say that the power of their fusion will rush that timer down, well, that is basically a way of saying that this fusion will become obsolete once these two characters that are fusing reach a certain pinnacle of strength. So yes, Dragon Ball Diffusion and Gawas's explanation both take away from the permanent nature of Potara Fusion, but one is a buff while the other is a nerf. And it did need to be nerfed. Imagine a world where Potara Fusion was done all the time by Goku and Vegeta when the situation called for it, and they just became insanely strong for no reason. Every time they'd fight someone stronger than their individual powers, they'd probably agree to fuse and potentially turn the tide of the battle because of it. We know that Potara is an immense power boost as shown by Kefla and Vegito, but to have it used so often would lessen its impact and would make the smaller increases in strength that Vegeta and Goku make seem meaningless in comparison, and enemies would have to be so outlandishly strong as to pose an actual threat. Let's remember what Potara Fusion is. A device used to show off cool stuff at the end of a series. A way to gain strength quickly that didn't have too much thought put into it because it didn't need to. A literal deus ex machina. A machine of the gods that was there to be a plot solver at the end of the story. Obviously it didn't solve the plot, but you see what I mean. This is Potara Fusion, and this is why it needed to die. Before I headed out today, guys, I just wanted to say that I posted a shirt up on Teespring using the new logo that I just made. Originally, I was just making a shirt for myself, but I decided that since it's so easy to post one on Teespring, I did. I knocked the price of the shirt down from what they wanted me to sell it at because I just want you guys to be able to get it without spending a ridiculous amount of money, to be honest. If you're interested in one or supporting the channel, I highly recommend checking this out. Link is in the description. So what do you guys think? Leave your opinions and counterpoints in the comments down below, and subscribe if you want more Dragon Ball videos. But for now, video outro!